Are you ready to rewind? Take a nostalgia-filled ride back to a simpler time. It's Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. And now your hosts, Joe Murata and Michael Quinn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 29 of Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. Today, it's all about chips. My name is Joe Murata, alongside America's favorite snacker, Michael Quinn. How you doing there, Michael?
Crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch. Thank you guys for dipping on into our show here today, as we're going to get into a little bit of the history about chips, potato chips, corn chips, you name it, tortilla chips, and a very special guest will be joining us a little bit later so we can rank the Mount Rushmore of potato chips.
Unbelievable. It's going to be what a happening.
It will be a happening. Thank you guys for being here. And this happens to be your first time around. Please be sure to give us a follow at AWM Podcast. You can also listen to 28 other episodes available where, Quinn?
On the archives.
On the archives.
It's getting big over there on the archives.
Big archive over there. And we have something different each week, so you'll find something you like in there. And you can also join our Facebook group, Acid Wash Memories on Facebook, and talk about all the old stuff, your favorite chips, obviously, this week.
Right.
That is on Facebook. So, Quinn, we're talking about chips. You ever have them?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time.
Checking.
Check this out. Get out one of the chips you're eating and bring it up here. Now, I'll take out one of my chips, and you put your chip next to mine.
I love potato chips, tortilla chips. A lot of people love them,
Fritos.
Right? Fritos, yeah. We can talk about them later, maybe. Quinn, but the first question to ask is, what is a snack?
It's something less substantial. It's something when you're just in the mood for, like, it's late at night or whatever. It's post-dinner.
Post-dinner.
Post-dessert.
And like, you're a little hungry.
You're a little hangry.
Yeah.
And you just want a little something, a little munchy.
A little munch. Well, I'll tell you what. As far as the United States is concerned, $11.1 billion industry potato chips are.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot. Globally, $35.5 billion.
Good Lord.
Chips are ubiquitous. And for those of you in the UK and Ireland, we know that you call them crisps over there because chips are like French fries, and we get that. But for the sense of nomenclature here, we're going to be calling them chips.
Will it be chips or jacket spats? Will it be salad or frozen peas?
You can use the AI to replace all our chip references.
Yeah, there'll be
crisp.
a special UK and Ireland only episode coming out.
Yeah.
Whatever you call them, though, people love them everywhere around the world. But it's hard to believe, Quinn, that there was a time where potato chips just didn't exist.
That's weird,
Isn't that weird?
I don't think I've lived in that universe or timeline or whatever.
No, we thankfully haven't, but you guys like to know the history. It's part of what we do here on Acid Wash Memories. So those of you tuning in for our very special guest, don't worry, it is coming a little bit later. But we got to talk about the history of the chip, right? The story goes that there was a chef named George Crumb, and he was...
No way.
George Crumb, yes.
Is he where the name Crumbs comes from?
Stop it. He was dealing with a very particularly annoying customer, and this is in 1853.
Wow.
Okay, at a restaurant called Moon's Lake House in Saratoga, New York. And the customer had ordered French fries and kept sending them back time and time again because they were too thick, they were too soggy, they were too bland, not enough salt, blah, blah, blah. So Mr. Crumb here got frustrated, and he sliced a bunch of potatoes ultra thin, fried them to the point that they were almost burnt, and then he salted the hell out of them. And the customer loved them so much.
What?
Other people did too. These new things became known as Saratoga chips.
It became known as the Saratoga chip, and the potato chip, it was born.
That's really the origin stories.
No, it's not. That's actually all an urban legend, and it was proven to be untrue.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds real.
It does, doesn't it? But as early as 1817, some 40 years prior, so now we're post-war of 1812.
Yeah. The other war.
Yes. There was a cookbook released known as the Cook's Oracle. And in this book was a recipe for potatoes fried in slices. So potato chips are about 200 years old. And this cookbook, fittingly, was written by William Kitchener.
What? All the people who invented this are
food puns.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Now, Quinn, would it surprise you to know that Mr. Kitchener was also a doctor?
Of course he was.
It's always a doctor or
well, you got to be real smart to invent the potato chip,
I
right?
guess so. So these chips did appear in other cookbooks as well shortly after that time, an 1825 British cookbook. But the widespread adoption of the potato chip was really not until the turn of the 20th century into the 1900s when a man named Daniel W. Mikesell founded a company in 1910.
It's like baseball players today, like all these weird names.
Coco Crisp was there.
Yeah.
In 1910, a company he founded in Dayton, Ohio, which was originally a dried beef and sausage producing place, but he began making these sliced potatoes shortly after. His company is still in business today. It's the oldest potato chip company in the United States, but the products are limited to Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois.
So no reach.
No real reach. So for those of you that are new, we're here in New Jersey, and a lot of you guys are everywhere. So if you've never had these chips, Mike sells, we understand.
Breaking news, just in the last 5 minutes, News Center 7 confirmed that Kahn's Potato Chip Company has bought Mike Sell's branding rights as well as its recipes.
And Kahn's said it plans to start making Mike Sell's snacks and chips immediately at its facility in Zanesville.
Around the same time, Frank Smith and Jim Viney founded a company in Cricklewood, England.
What is going on here
with the names?
Yeah, this is what a weird history, right?
So over in Cricklewood, England, Mr. Smith and Mr. Viney, they were producing these chips or crisps out of converted garages, and in the 1920s they added to their packaging a twist of salt, thus inventing the seasoned potato chip.
It's weird to think that they didn't even have salt on them, right?
That's what I mean, right?
They'd be unrecognizable without salt on them these days.
Right. You wouldn't even think of having a chip without some type of seasoning.
Smith's Crisps, the original and still the best.
Today, of course, this company is owned by PepsiCo. So, back in the United States in 1921, in Hanover, Pennsylvania, William and Sally Utz started making chips out of their house.
Speaking of Utz.
But people have been buying Utz potato chips right here for years because they're fresh, crisp, and delicious.
They caught on, these Utz chips, and soon enough, the Hanover home brand potato chip was renamed Utz and expanded tremendously post-war, much later.
Post-war, yes. Utz are fantastic chips, by the way.
They are.
Don't get enough play.
They're a very good chip.
You know what's funny is they expanded, but they weren't super expanded. Like, they weren't everywhere.
I feel like, and I don't know if this is true, it could just be me.
It's like the late 90s,
I feel like
2000s.
I didn't ever see them until the late 90s.
They were in our area, but they were like limited. They had like a huge expansion in like the turn of the century, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, folks, let us know your Utz stories, because I'm really not kidding. They're a $1 billion company today. I mean, they're a huge company, but I feel like I really didn't see them until about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
In the late 90s. But also in 1921, a lot of this has all happened at the same time. Like, as we've noticed here, when someone gets an idea and sees someone else doing something, everone starts doing
Everything
their variation.
was booming in the 20s, man.
Yeah, roaring even.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I heard. In Pennsylvania, no less, a deli owner named Earl Wise began making his own chips in his mom's kitchen. And Mr. Wise here, he lived up to his name, Quinn, because rather than keep...
This is a good name.
This is a good name.
Yeah.
Rather than keep his chips in like glass cases or barrels, which was the norm for the time, he did something else. Because, putting them in these cases, what happens is they get stale much more quickly. And they get soggier and things. So he started putting them in wax paper bags.
What a great idea.
See, he was Wise, and that caught on. And Wise is still a major player today.
Wise presents free tickets to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Just redeem 3 bags of any Wise snack, 59 cents or larger.
And then in 1932, Charles Elmer Doolin of San Antonio, Texas.
Here we go with the weird names again.
Yes. He began producing, Quinn, not a potato chip, but a corn chip.
Ooh.
And within just a few years, there were factories in Dallas and Tulsa making these same chips. This company became known as Fritos.
Fritos corn chips make lunch much better.
Beautiful.
Which is after the Spanish word for fried.
Now, I'm a big fan of the Frito.
I know you are.
And this is a glorious addition to the chip pantheon here.
I think it is, and maybe it'll make Rushmore, Quinn. We'll have to see how Alyssa feels. So this company, Fritos, acquired a potato chip company that was already in business in 1958, known as Ruffles Potato Chip Company.
You know what this flat old potato chip is, huh? It's a doggone shame it's not a Ruffles potato chip. I tell you for true.
Now, Ruffles, folks, you probably know what they are. A major player to this day. They have ridges.
Ruffles have ridges.
That's their whole thing.
That's their gimmick.
Meanwhile, though, back in 1934, A salesman by the name of Herman Lay started selling snacks in Nashville, Tennessee.
Now here comes the evil empire to pop in here. Yeah.
And in 1938, he bought an Atlanta-based chip manufacturer, Bartlett Food Company, renamed it H.W. Lay Lingo and Company. Lingo. I don't know why. That's a lot of words.
I feel like this is the history of funny names and words.
Yeah, what is going on here?
Chips.
So, informally, these chips became known as Lays, and they were the first company to use TV commercials featuring, at one point as their spokesperson, Bert Lahr. Do you know who that is off the top of your head?
No.
The Cowardly Lion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after that.
Oh, that's up your alley. Big
Wizard of Oz
fan.
buff.
Yeah.
What have you got there?
Lay's potato chips, Dad. Bet you can't eat one.
Well, of course I can. Now run along and do your lessons. Oliver, I'll have another.
Now, there's another company we need to talk about here. Back in Pennsylvania, there was a man by the name of Jim Herr.
Jim Herr.
And he
Not Jim Hurd, huh?
Not Jim Hurd, not the pizza man.
Yeah.
And he purchased a small chip company out of Lancaster, PA in 1946, which 1946 is about as post-war as you can get.
Yeah, very post.
Very post. But by 1958, Herr's was flavoring their chips. And today...
Smart.
Very smart. CNBC.
But then Jim Herr doesn't make just any potato chip. Make hers yours.
Today, Herr's are available in all 50 states and 40 countries.
They could be yours.
They could be yours. You can make Herr's yours. And folks, we're just giving a brief outline here. We're going to do a little bit more, and then we're going to finally get to our special guest. Don't you worry. But we want to know your favorite chips, your favorite flavors, all these things. We want you to do this on Twitter at AWM Podcast and join our group, please. So as we're in this post-war era, Quinn, many more companies began making chips. More flavors began to crop up. Cheese and onion was actually the first non-plain flavor.
Ugh.
Cheese and onion.
Not sour cream.
I believe that was over in Ireland, I think.
What the hell is that flavor? Such a weird combination.
Salt and vinegar was another early one.
Salt and vinegar is tasty.
Barbecue.
Oh.
Now, you know who did the first barbecue flavor?
Who?
Herr's.
Well, they were yours.
Yeah, but they were ours.
Yeah.
And sour cream and onion. And, Quinn, this might upset you. In 1961, Lay's and Fritos merged to form Frito-Lay.
I just like that Frito got to be on the front.
Top billing, if you will?
Top billing.
Okay. Now, one of Frito-Lay's biggest hits started in 1964.
Okay.
Doritos, a flavored tortilla chip.
What a fantastic invention the Dorito was. You take a tortilla chip, you put some flavoring on it.
Absolutely.
And you got something special.
They are going on my Rushmore. I think they have to. I won't spoil which flavor I think, but I've got to put Doritos. We'll talk later. But the first Dorito flavor when they came out in '64 was toasted corn. That was their
what?
With salt. That was
nacho,
it.
I always felt nacho cheese was
no.
Really?
Then taco in 1967.
I remember taco.
Yeah,
that was still around when I was a kid.
They still do. It's in the retro bags.
Really?
They bring it back every now and then. Yes, nacho cheese, believe it or not, which is not your cheese. Get it?
Stop.
Sorry. That, while ubiquitous today, is the preeminent Dorito flavor.
The default.
Yeah, the default. That did not come about until 1972.
I knew Cool Ranch was like later or whatever, but like
1986. Cool Ranch.
I mean, if the company started in 65, though, I guess that's pretty early then. The nacho cheese was around.
Yeah,
then.
but I think I was like you. You really would think that, well, that was one of the first flavors.
Right. But I remember there was a time when like the premier brands were taco and nacho cheese.
Taco
and
was
like
a
Cool
big
Ranch was upcoming.
Well, there was also the Jumping Jack in like 1990, which I have to mention, and salsa. There was a salsa flavored one in the early 90s also.
That one didn't catch on.
I know, and it should have. It was good. I remember it. I had it.
I know it's kind of early for this type of thing. I just wanted to be the first to tell folks in this area about the newest, biggest, boldest taste yet from Doritos, new Salsa Rio flavor. Imagine all those Rio Grande fixins plus big chunky salsa taste, and it's all on one little chip.
In 1965, Quinn, Frito-Lay merged with Pepsi-Cola to form PepsiCo.
Really?
So, yes. So, Frito-Lay, if you did not know, is actually merged with Pepsi. It's all one thing.
It all ends up with Pepsi and Coke.
Yeah,
it always does.
I know.
The preeminent, we're going to buy all the foods
Right.
thing.
I know.
That Dow Chemical or some one of those big DuPont or something.
DuPont.
Yeah.
Frito-Lay today is the largest in the world. And you guys know, other innovations throughout the decades have included the rise of the kettle-style chips.
Mm-hmm.
There's baked chips were a huge fad in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Remember that?
Yeah.
Baked Lays
Baked
and all
Lays,
that.
yeah.
And, of course, the Pringle.
Once you pop, you can stop.
The Pringle, Quinn.
Fantastic. And
I love a Pringle.
I don't like how they try to fool people there.
Yeah, so in 1968, the Pringle was formed by a chemist. We were not going to get in the whole history.
Pringle, yes.
No, that's not his name. Pringles are not technically called chips.
Right.
Because of the FDA. They don't let them call that since 1975 because of the way that they're made. They're made from like processed dried potatoes. They're not actually sliced potatoes. So that's why Pringles here in the United States are known as crisps. I don't know what they're known as in England. If they're
what do you call them when they're...
Well, the FDA doesn't apply to England, doesn't it?
That's true.
So I guess they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They're probably just crisp over there,
people
too.
just call them Pringles. Like, they're just weird.
Yeah.
You know, they're like this different thing.
I agree with you. It's like we were talking about pizza a few weeks back. There's pizza and then there's Domino's.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, they're not really chips, but they're the experience of a chip.
It's true.
So, folks, that is a tiny bit of history. And the reason we're just giving you a brief overview this time around is because we're not here to go into every single flavor. There's too many. You know what I mean? We figured the best way to cover potato chips would be by doing something that we used to do on our old wrestling show, Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. And what that was a segment called Mount Rushmore and Death Valley. Now, that is where we took 4 of the best of something and put it onto Mount Rushmore, and 4 of the worst went down into the desert of Death Valley. This time around, though, because we want to keep this positive, because our guest is a very positive person, we are just going to do a Mount Rushmore, similar to how we did for our cereal episode a few months back. So, Quinn, this is, of course, the Mount Rushmore of... Chips. Now, the last time we did a Rushmore, if you recall, we had a very special guest. And it made it a lot more fun, I think, because, we get another opinion in here. It's not just you and me.
So wait, who'd you get this time?
Well, I got the same person, of course.
Oh!
Yes, that's right. We have a professional wrestling commentator, our announcer.
Yes.
A cereal connoisseur, yes.
Yes.
But a snack specialist, both sweet and salty. She herself also sweet and salty. The wonderful, the talented Alyssa Marino. Alyssa, welcome back.
Hi, my friends. It's so great to see you both again. I told you I would just yell the whole time because I'm very excited to be back.
Great to have you.
She's back.
A chip off the old block, if you will.
Back at the mountain here.
Back at the mountaintop. Is this a mountain, Gwen?
Yeah, I mean, that's a segment, right?
Rushmore. I guess Badlands, perhaps. But anyway, Alyssa, how are you? How's everything been?
I'm so delightful. Thank you for having me back on. It was so much fun the last time that we had to do it again. And it's like a potato chip. You can't just have one. You have to have me on again.
Once you pop, you just can't stop.
Exactly.
I think, I would agree with that.
We've covered the history already.
Yes.
So we need our expert. We need our snacking expert, our sponsored snacking expert here.
We're only
by the way.
half experts.
Yeah, we're between the two of us, we're lucky if we're an expert, Gwen.
That's true.
So we need you, Alyssa. And when we're talking the best chips in the game, past or present, or future, maybe we can think of some future chip ideas.
Yes, future.
We obviously have some factors to consider.
Okay.
The crunch factor, perhaps.
Definitely the crunch.
The seasoning spread and distribution.
Yes, 1,000%.
Very important.
The crummage that's left over.
And if the crummage is good.
Oh, yeah.
Good crummage or
what are your
bad
thoughts
crummage?
on good crummage, Alyssa?
I love a good crummage because then you can use that for other things. Like I think we had talked about using like the bottom of the box cereal for baking. You throw that in like a salad, you sprinkle it over like some kind of pasta dish. Like you could have a really taste sensation with the crummage.
That's incredible. I would have never thought to do that.
Well, this is why you're here, Alyssa. So we'll be covering chips here in the best. And folks, obviously, you let us know yours at AWM Podcast on Twitter and join our group maybe and let us know there. But Alyssa, you're our guest. What is one of the best chips, a Rushmore-worthy chip?
Okay, so I think when we talk about texture, when we talk about the snap, when we talk about the crispiness of a chip, I have to go with I don't want to say number one because I try not to like rank my snacks, but one of my top choices is a kettle chip. Now, I don't know if we have to be specific on flavor. Taste profile wise, I go jalapeno, but the Kettle brand jalapeno chips, get out of town.
Is this Kettle brand? Are we by brand with this?
The way I was thinking of it, folks, is that we can get that hyper specific. The important thing is we all agree.
Right.
So we might get to a point where all of us agree on the brand, but not the flavor, and the brand will go on. But if we all agree on a flavor, then
I mean, kettle. I mean, who doesn't want that on there, right?
What do you think? Well, I actually like the kettle jalapeno.
I do too,
a real lot.
Sometimes it can be intense, and I'm a spice guy, but I've had some of them where there's too much crumbage of jalapeno, like a little. You went too far. There's a balance of jalapeno crumbage.
Alyssa, how do you repurpose a jalapeno crumbage?
So I think a jalapeno crumbage, if you did, I mean, this is probably too much chips, but if you had like a nacho dish that you were doing and you just wanted to add a little bit of extra kick to the flavor, you could do that. What about in a sandwich? Like if you did like a Southwestern style sandwich or like a hoagie in my neck of the woods.
You know, it's been so long since I've had chips in a sandwich.
Really?
It's a must.
Yeah, it is. That does sound really good.
This is another one of those episodes where people are going to be hungry afterwards.
Yeah, I think you're making me hungry.
You're welcome.
And, I'm sure that it's coming through people's ears right now how hungry they are.
That's what we're here for. Well, I definitely agree with the kettle chip jalapeno especially. I'm with you on that. Quinn, anything you want to put on the table
I'll
here?
go with my maybe not number one as much as my go-to chip, the Fritos Flavor Twist Honey Barbecue. It's the one.
Honey barbecue specifically, right?
Yes. Now Fritos introduced this. Like, this wasn't like the original Fritos. Those are separate, right?
As we mentioned.
Yes. Those are absolutely a separate thing from the chipage. But the twists, they kind of look like twisty pasta.
Yeah, like
but they're
rotini,
hard.
right?
Yeah,
Rotini.
yeah, but they're
the
crunchy.
Italian thing.
I think what keeps them on the top for me is they always have the perfect balance of crumbage, flavor dust, whatever you want to call it.
Flavor dust.
It comes off on your fingers.
It's Dustin Rhodes' new character.
It comes off on your fingers, but you don't taste any clumpage in your mouth, like, when there's too much on there, like the clump of flavoring.
I had not considered the clumpage.
The clumpage is
I didn't
important.
consider the clumpage. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess these are chips technically, right?
They are.
They are,
Yeah.
right?
They're just Fritos, just in a twisty thing.
Alyssa, you agree that this is a chip?
I agree that this is a chip, and I actually love this option because I felt like we needed to have barbecue representation on this list.
True.
Absolutely.
I feel like it had to be there. So I'm not opposed to a honey barbecue for a little extra sweetness.
So what's interesting about the Frito flavor twist is now I recall, and maybe I could be mistaken, Joe.
Not you.
Or Alyssa. But I recall that at the beginning of the introduction of flavor twists, that there was multiples, and then no one got any of the ones that weren't honey barbecue, and now you can only get honey barbecue. They don't exist.
They're ubiquitous now.
Yeah.
Today, people, we have a request. It's the Fritos Twisted Honey Barbecue.
That's a very good point.
I don't remember any other flavors. Yeah, now that you mention it.
There was, I just don't even remember because it was so brief. It was like right when
zesty pecan or something like that.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where you could tell they were testing what's the one people like, and then all the other ones disappeared.
Yeah, maple walnut.
Yeah.
Ooh. Cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon sugar. I'm okay with keeping it on the table. Let's say you keep it on the table, or
I'm a fan.
All right, we'll keep it on the table. It's on the table. I have to give you mine, though, and this might be my number one favorite chip of all time.
Okay.
To this day, Cool Ranch Doritos.
Just lovely. A lovely chip.
New Cool Ranch flavored Doritos brand tortilla chips.
Alyssa, thoughts?
It's a lovely chip.
Uh-oh.
To me,
She's demurring.
oh man, I'm going to make some enemies. I feel like sometimes Doritos can be a little overrated. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
First Tony the Tiger, and now this.
This is going to be my hot take of the episode. I swear, no more.
No, I wouldn't have agreed with you a couple years ago, but lately there is something going on with Cool Ranch that's an uneven distribution of flavor in some cases. I've found chips that were drenched in Cool Ranch dust.
Yeah. Those are the best.
But mixed in with a bag of chips that have nothing on them.
I've gotten that too.
There seems to be some problem at the factory, like cereal. Like there should be a storyline, but we're not aware of it.
So we're in a season of flavor decay, if you will.
But that's not to say that Cool Ranch Dorito isn't an all-time great.
It is.
Because it might be I can't call it the Hulk Hogan of chips, but it might be like Macho Man Randy Savage.
It might be the Randy Savage.
You know what I mean? It's not the number one, but it's the consistent, awesome.
It's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Are you ever upset? You walk in somewhere where there's a big bowl of chip. Are you ever upset if it's a Cool Ranch Dorito?
Never.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. But it's just for a Mount Rushmore, I feel like we might be able to do better.
I am.
I'm so sorry.
I'll say this where I
It's
agree
been
with
nice
you.
having you.
If I went to a party where there was like hors d'oeuvres or whatever you call it, right?
Yeah, hors
if it
d'oeuvres.
was a slightly nicer occasion, I probably would be a little down if there was Cool Ranch Doritos.
Well, it's not like I'm talking about a tapas bar, Quinn. I don't mean that. I'm talking about a party where there's a wooden table and natty ice on the table next
You
to it.
mean like
you know?
a Super Bowl party or or even just a regular season football game?
Or
Is there a tablecloth on the table? Like, is it that fancy, or is it just a wooden table?
There's no tablecloth.
If there was a tablecloth, then there shouldn't be Cool Ranch Doritos.
Agreed.
Well, right, agreed, yeah.
Good.
Maybe some kind of
Especially if it's the kind with like doily and it's not cheap like plastic
It's
one.
not the dollar store kind or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, now that I've been kind of beaten down here, Alyssa, you got anything else you want to put on the table?
I'm so sorry. I swear it's not personal. It's just, I gotta be true to my feelings.
This is what we do here. It's okay.
It's true. It's healthy. We're having a healthy debate. Now, I feel like chips are, usually always very salty, very, very flavorful, One might say, oops, all seasonings if we had some Cool Ranch situation. What are our feelings on a sweet chip? Like, for instance, an Amy's Pita cinnamon sugar. Are we throwing that off, or are we like, oh no, stick to
So actually,
salty?
it's funny. We're on the same wavelength right now because I was thinking the same thing. Are Wheat Thins and Triscuits or like
No,
do they
they're
count?
not chips now. That's in the cracker
Really?
variety, Michael.
Not even the cracked pepper one.
No. Wheat Thins are not chips.
Nor a Triscuit?
Triscuit is a cracker.
Okay.
It's a biscuit.
It's a biscuit.
Okay, so we're not counting.
No, we can't. I think we're going to get in trouble if we do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
What's
we'll have to
next?
ask
Cheez-Its?
Ogden or something, but anyway,
Oreos,
yeah. So you're up. What's your next nominee?
Well, she said it. We're allowing those because those are pita chips.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, I'm yelling at you for the Triscuit thing.
I consider it all part of the same thing.
They're in the cracker aisle.
Well, sorry.
These are, to Alyssa's credit, these are in the chip aisle, in with the chips.
So give us the proposition here. Why?
Why?
Okay, so I propose that in order to kind of capture all ends of the spectrum of chippage, we have our savory and our flavorful. Maybe we have a little bit of spiciness with the jalapeno, and now we have a sweet situation. I think there's a lot of variety. You could do them with a variety of kinds of dips. You could do them with a little bit of like a cream cheese kind of dippage situation.
Cream cheese
I think
dippage.
dippage is something we also need to consider because there are some chips
that you
that you
can't
do
dip.
not dip, and some chips that you have to dip.
So what are these Amy's, what are they called?
Amy's Pita chips, the cinnamon sugar ones. But I think you do run into the issue of flavor distribution often with them because you can have some that are super saturated and you're like, give me all of them. But then you have some like duds as well.
Agreed.
I've had these before. These are actually really good.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
Quinn?
I've got one in the Hall of Fame. I don't even think they make it anymore.
Do not say Ritz crackers.
No.
You're in the wrong show.
I got the everything. What were they called? The loaded potato everything chips.
The old Ruffles.
Ruffles, yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Ruffles loaded baked potato.
These were amazing. They had a little bit of cream, sour cream. They had a little bit of bacon. They had a kind of weird potato, I guess. Whatever this mixture was, first of all, they've locked it in the vault. They won't tell anyone where it went.
Don't they return sometimes, like the McRib?
They did once. Remember, we followed this saga, and but they did for like briefly, but they didn't taste like the ones from the 90s.
Oh, that's right.
It was such a tease.
Alyssa, you young whippersnapper, do you remember these?
I do recall them. I don't know if I've had them, but I definitely remember seeing them on a shelf.
When these were out for their brief period, from I don't know what was
It's like late 90s, early 2000s.
Was it even around like in the early 90s? Was there an iteration? Perhaps?
I don't remember them. I remember them later.
Whenever the period was that these existed, these were like number one to me. I couldn't believe that they took them away. It's one of those, and like I almost like want to nominate it because, damn it, bring it back. Like, are you listening?
Well, I mean, they're a Ruffle brand potato chip, so they have the crunch factor.
True.
They have the dippage factor as well because it's a Ruffle.
Yes.
Ruffles have ridges, as we all know.
Yes.
Crummage, not too bad. A typical Ruffle crummage, I would say.
Yeah, these weren't too like they didn't have stuff.
Nothing egregious.
I want to say the bottom of the bag, because whatever this mixture was, mysterious mixture that
Who
nobody,
made that Dow Chemical?
Maybe that's why we can't get it anymore.
Is that why we can't get them anymore?
Yeah, maybe there was something unhealthy about it, because when they brought it back, it didn't taste like the same thing.
You're right.
It was like overloaded with like cheese or something. Like
your favorite.
The balance was all off. And I find it fascinating that there's a chip that's like gone.
Yeah.
Like there's a mysterious factor to this, right?
Right.
There's an intangible.
A je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, nobody can taste it. I remember you used to tell me you used to like think about these chips sometimes.
I did.
When we were like when I was like in college or whatever, that kind of age.
Yeah, no, they're very, very good.
Man, I have to nominate them.
You can nominate them. I don't think they're going to make it, but
really,
well, Alyssa's never had them, so
But
you know this is.
I can speak to the idea, because I think didn't TGI Fridays do a loaded potato chip?
Like
so
that.
It's kind of like that.
But I prefer a ruffle texture usually.
So you like the
I'm
ruffle.
not opposed. I love ruffle. Now my question and my problem with ruffles,
Okay.
the amount of chip you actually get in the bag compared to all the air that fills up the bag. I feel like this
trash.
It's garbage.
Yeah, the air to product ratio.
Do you remember
the ATP?
Do you remember in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, that like so many of these companies were doing this crap with the didn't fill it? There'd be ones that were like, we have like 50% more chips, like we're gonna fill the bag, all this stuff, because it was just so prevalent.
Well, it's the nitrogen that they blow in there, to keep them fresh or whatever. But still, it's like
chip bags are pumped full of nitrogen. All that excess air in chip bags isn't there to dupe buyers into thinking there are more chips inside. In fact, it serves a purpose, and no, it doesn't contain oxygen. Instead, chip bags are filled with nitrogen. Oxygen would quickly turn the chips rancid.
How about this? How about, because Ruffles has many a flavor.
Oh, yes.
Does Ruffle, just the Ruffle brand in general, do they deserve the nomination to appease everyone here?
Well, I see. I like Ruffles, but what about Lay's and them?
Well, let's talk about Lay's.
They're like the number 1 and 2, right?
They're
Lay's
the
and Ruffles.
Well, they're the same company.
Who is like the McDonald's in this situation?
Lay's would have to be the McDonald's. They're the number 1.
Okay.
See, I was going to nominate next anyway. Was the regular plain old Lay's original flavor, just the potato chip. They have a salt ability to them.
Yes,
they're very tasty to the tongue.
Yeah.
And the air to product ratio is a little uneven, but
I agree.
We come to expect that from Frito-Lay.
Yes.
They got the grease. We got to talk about the grease, though. They are greasy.
They are very greasy.
They're greasy.
The bag's greasy. Everything's greasy in there.
It's a grease, just how greasy they are. I'm sorry. I
agree.
But it's...
I agree with...
You agrees.
Do you agree?
Quinn agrees.
I agrees.
Well, now that you put it that way, they are... I mean, Pringles used to make fun of that with the big grease spot.
The guy with the hands.
So I don't know how to eat chips. Oh.
And they would. You know what my favorite part is? There came a point. Sometimes they would before this they would say not greasy or whatever, right? Like somebody would say it.
Yeah.
And at some point they would just flash it in the mix of the advertisement. Just go back to the hand greasing up their shirt.
And he's like some loser all by himself. Yeah. Everyone else is playing soccer or some
Surprised
shit.
It wasn't in black and white and as seen on TV and some nonsense.
Look at this asshole eating the Lay's over here.
Yeah, what a loser.
We're popping and we can't stop.
Greasy, not fun.
Now, Pringles are not a chip. They're a crisp because of FDA.
Please with that. They keep trying with that. I don't believe them.
Alyssa, does Pringle deserve a nod here? What do you think?
Perplexed. They weren't going to be on my particular Mount Rushmore lineup, but I still would consider them a chip.
Yeah, they are.
Because don't deny your nature, Pringles.
Yes.
You're a chip.
They are. They're not allowed to be called that, but they are.
I love Pringles. I'm not gonna lie. I love Pringles to the point where sometimes I've scuffed up my hand on the salt, trying to pick the last one out of there, and feverishly too, because I'm oh my god, these are so good.
Dump the can. Dump the can.
That's not as fun though.
Yeah.
I want the adventure.
Yeah, plus all the stuff's down there too that the crumbs.
The crumbage.
The crumbs. The crumbage.
Now, you know what Pringles is to chips? It's what Sunny D is to orange juice. It has a weird it tastes different slightly.
The Miracle Whip to mayonnaise,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
These are such incredible parallels. I'm really into this. Okay, go ahead.
That uniqueness was always, it was like a draw as a kid. right? I was like, this doesn't taste the same.
Besides the fact that eating Pringles, I feel like are more of an adventure for your mouth because you could do duck lips, you could put them in your mouth and just pop them. Like, it's actually a very fun activity in the eating process. But one thing I feel about Pringles is that the flavors, when they have like the different variations, I don't feel like they're as effective in the Pringles variety as they are in other varieties. Like, I would take a barbecue lay over a barbecue Pringle any day.
100%. I agree with you.
It's actually very telling that Pringles Original might be the best flavor there is, because Pringles Original, it doesn't taste like a potato chip. It's like its own flavor.
It tastes like a Pringle.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
you know what I mean?
Pringle-flavored.
Yeah. Pringle flavored. Yeah, because the flavors, you're right, it's never an intense flavor. It doesn't quite complement the Pringle too well. It's there, but it's not as good.
I'm always experimenting too. They have like 73
know.
flavors. You're like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'll get this one this time.
Mountain Dew and stuff like that.
The BBQ is like weak.
The what?
Like, the barbecue, it stinks. Like, it's no
weak.
good.
BBQ. It is, though. Alyssa's right. I'd rather have a barbecue lay, classic brown packaging back in the day.
Start on the sour cream.
I won't get you started on the sour cream.
It's not even good.
Do we have anything on here? We have the kettle chip jalapeno. We have the Fritos flavor twist honey BBQ. Apparently, we have Amy's pita chips. We don't have Cool Ranch. I mean, I guess we do, but
We do. It's there.
Yeah,
We're
it's
still
there.
debating.
We have Ruffles. Can we put the Ruffle brand? Because I don't know about this loaded baked. Because Ruffle in general is good.
If it gets loaded baked onto Mount Rushmore, I agree.
It would be under the umbrella.
Yeah.
I'm into that because I feel like Ruffles too have the dippage factor.
Yeah.
You can
yeah.
dip a Ruffle, any kind of Ruffle, all day long. It just works. They're sturdy. They're a sturdy chip, and I appreciate that.
There's nothing like a glob of sour cream and onion like in the ridges and everything. Oh, it's so good.
You dipped the chip, you took a bite, and you dipped again. So that's like putting your whole mouth right in the dip.
I think we got to put the Ruffle brand potato chips
when you're
on here.
dipping, that's the chip you buy. You don't buy some other fake
No,
chip.
I know. All right, so we're all turning our keys and agreeing on this one?
I'm on it.
All right. For number one, the Ruffles.
Very nice.
All right. So we have kettle chips. We got Fritos still on here. Cool Ranch floating around. Alyssa, you want to throw one on the table?
Yes. I feel like, because chips can be a very polarizing topic, obviously with Cool Ranch, I'm sorry, but I feel like we need a polarizing flavor. You either love it or you hate it. It's an assaulting flavor, and I don't mean the pun of salt, but I'm talking salt and vinegar chips.
Yes.
Very good.
You either love them or you hate them, and I think that that's why they're so iconic.
Now,
one of my favorites.
I'm trying to think of the brand, but does Cape Cod make the really good ones?
Yes.
Well, salt and vinegar?
They do. Cape Cod does.
Yes.
My personal favorite salt and vinegar is hers.
Hers
in
is
the
pretty
white
good.
bag.
Love a hers.
You have hers? Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
we all
yeah.
have hers, right? I think
Love
they're
hers.
Yeah.
That flavor is the most intense one in terms of the regular non-kettle potato chip. Because Wise has them in the purple bag. They're decent, but the hers, like, that's the one where my tongue hurts sometimes.
Yes.
Dead serious. And I don't mind it. It's
a
worth
good
it.
pain.
It is a good pain. So I'm totally with you if we want to just put a flavor on the table.
Well, while we're nominating flavors.
Yes, Michael.
How about hers Old Bay seasoning chips?
Yes,
How about
they're
these?
very, very good.
This was a combination that I didn't know I ever wanted in my life until I tasted them mid-2000s or something, post-college.
They're very tasty.
Yeah.
I first had a crab-esque, like an Old Bay flavoring one. Utz used to do it. It's called the crab chip now. It used to be called Old Bay, I think.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago.
Just what they call it now, crab chip?
Utz does, I think, yeah. But I know what you mean. I love the Old Bay seasoned chips. I still think that salt and vinegar is a more notable, probably like a higher caliber flavor.
I do agree. It's the kind of flavor that goes with when you're at a traditional style deli.
Yeah.
Like that one, what's that one we always go to?
Monroe Deli.
Monroe Park
I don't
Deli.
anymore because it has a new owner.
Yeah,
It's not good anymore.
Monroe Park Deli.
Yeah, it's not called
amazing. That is like the kind of chip you get with those big subs.
I think you raised a good, or hoagie if you're Alyssa.
Yes, thank
I
you.
think you raised a good point though. Alyssa, what are your thoughts on that? The complementary, aspect of a chip where it goes well with something such as a deli sandwich.
Oh, I think that's definitely something that needs to be considered because it's part of the eating experience. It can add so much to a meal, or equally, it can take so much away. If you have a bad chip that you've just like taken a chance on, it can ruin your entire sandwich eating experience.
It's always very tense when you're getting a sub and they're making it or whatever, and behind you there's like just an aisle of like those kind of like takeout bags of chips, and you're like, which one do I pick or whatever? But salt and vinegar is a good go-to.
I think just as a flavor, and then you folks at home pick your favorite brand perhaps, but I'm cool with is it going to make Rushmore? Is it at that point yet?
It is very much like a necessity chip.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those, it's like a utility chip, if you will.
It is a utility chip, yes.
Right.
Polarizing, like you said, Alyssa. It definitely is. But I think we're all in agreement, the three of us, that as a flavor, it took chances, man. Let's just think about this. Salt is in the name.
Right.
They're like, yeah, it's unhealthy. It's salt.
Yeah.
We dare you.
And they're like, that stuff that you use to clean battery acid off of your, terminal in your car? It's also in our chips. You want to eat some, and then you do, and they're delicious.
They are.
It's true.
And it's worth the pain.
It's worth the pain. It can appeal to a whole different kind of people, too.
I'll give my approval.
Okay, Alyssa?
I will give my approval on that.
I submitted this for, your consideration, so I'm down.
See,
you're down. Okay.
So now, Joe, we just have, do you approve?
I think I do.
Okay.
I think it's good that we have a brand on here so far, which is Ruffles.
Yep.
Okay.
We have some specifics on the table, but why not? Well, if we're talking flavors, hang tight.
Oh, boy.
Buckaroos. Barbecue is one of the most classic ones.
Yes.
And probably not as polarizing, right?
Right. But there's the problem with barbecue to me.
There is no problem with barbecue, Quinn.
There's not a problem with it as much as I feel like every manufacturer is like all over the place with their barbecue.
Oh.
Some are sweet, some are
that's
more
honey.
Got a little more kick to them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like there's such an imbalance with barbecue flavor these days.
Very unregulated.
It's unacceptable if you ask me. I want to know what I'm getting when I see BBQ on the cover.
But maybe the surprise factor is part of it.
Surprise factor.
I was going to say, isn't the variety the spice of life? So maybe it's kind of cool to have barbecue because you never know exactly what kind of barbecue you're going to get.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a personal favorite barbecue, either of you?
It's funny. I find the more traditional brands better at having any kind of consistency with barbecue.
Like Lay.
Like Lay. I would say Lay is like probably the most consistent barbecue flavor there is.
I would agree.
I would say Lay barbecue or honey barbecue. I actually don't mind the honey barbecue Lays either.
But I'm a big fan of honey barbecue. As was my first nomination.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that sour cream and onion's a good flavor too, though, while we're at it. I mean,
gosh.
Or is it... Does the fact that there's a dip negate the necessity of the flavor?
It's one of those things like you feel like they made because it was like people was like, oh man, I don't have any dip. Right? It's like that. So why don't we just give you the chip with the dip on it? Right?
Is that the point of it, you think?
That is the point of it. I think that's like why it was invented.
You think they're just dumbing it down for people?
Yeah, because it was very common to dip, regular Lays or Ruffles
into a sour cream and onion dip.
So for folks that maybe they're just going in a convenience store and they don't have dip, or a gas station in like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we can offer our customers the chip and the dip all together.
Jeez. And better is an on-the-go treat as well. You can't take dip with you unless you're really committed.
Well, that's a good point.
A cooler and everything.
Cooler, yeah. You got it. Man, you know what? Salt and vinegar. I'm taking chances.
Let's put as the utility chip because it's like kind of the deli one.
Okay, let's put it on for number 2. Believe it or not, we're gonna get some hate tweets for this. Send them to Alyssa.
Thank you.
It is salt and vinegar. Well, we are at the halfway point, and somewhat unconventionally, we've got Ruffles and salt and vinegar on here so far.
Wow.
This is shaping up to be an interesting day here on Acid Wash Memories, all thanks to Alyssa Marino. But Alyssa will be back with us, folks. Why don't you go grab a snack yourselves, and Quinn and I will be back with Alyssa for the second half of the Rushmore of Chips right after this.
Keebler introduces the appealing taste of baked potato skins in a crunchy new chip.
New potato skins got baked potato appeal, because they're made with potatoes and skins that are real.
The Keebler elves make new potato skins with real potatoes and real potato skins for a flavor with whole baked potato appeal.
Cheddar cheese and bacon, sour cream and chives, tasty baked potato, you won't believe your eyes. They're made with potatoes and skins that are real. New potato skins from Keebler, baked potato appeal.
Pringles newfangled potato chips. As many chips as in a big bag. Fresh, unbroken. Stacked in a crush-proof, stale-proof canister. Made a new way. Delicious, fresh, always crisp and crunchy.
Every single Pringles potato chip is the perfect potato chip. They're not broken, taste a lot fresher too. The canister keeps them that way for you. Pringles newfangled potato chips.
Everything's perfect, Maurice.
If you're fussy about your sour cream and onion dip, you'll really love our latest flavor. Sour cream and onion flavored Doritos brand tortilla chips. So for a snack, with a great taste of sour cream and onion already on the chip, try sour cream and onion Doritos. They taste as good as they crunch.
And now we return to more acid-washed memories.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to Acid Wash Memories. I'm Alyssa Marino, and we are talking about chips today.
Hey, Alyssa, what are you doing?
What's going on here?
Guys, I was just doing the thing, you know.
We step away for 2 minutes here.
We just walked out and you take over the show.
First Cool Ranch Doritos, now this.
Man, it's crazy you say that. Literally on the break, I feel like I had a change of heart about Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh, really? This could help.
I feel like we need some sort of tortilla chip family representation.
I do agree.
On the Mount Rushmore.
Do you have any others in mind?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
That would be my...
That would be the one.
That would be the one.
I would nominate as a possible other contender, although I think the Dorito brand, if nothing else, might make it.
Right.
Tostitos. Hint of lime specifically.
Oh, yeah, those are really good. An excellent chip.
Try new Tostitos Hint of Lime. Dig in. Let loose.
They have many different chips, the Tostitos family.
Yes.
They have the little ones, they have the dippables,
But
the
I always
scoops.
felt they were minor. They
What?
were like that thing your dad gets because they're like cheaper, like for the Super Bowl or something, right? Is like
Everything's in the Super Bowl with you.
Well, because chips is like such a Super Bowl thing, right? It's like you're trying to save money because you're buying 700 different types of chips, and Tostitos was like, because we have like all these other chips, like let's just get Tostitos instead of.
I think they're terrific, personally. The Tostitos.
I mean, they're good.
There's so many different like vehicles for salsa consumption too. Like
I agree.
Personally, I would never dip a Cool Ranch Dorito in salsa. Maybe it's a taste sensation, but it's like not my MO. Though
I don't do that.
The spicy nacho Doritos in queso, fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. Those are very good.
All day long.
Excellent.
But spicy nachos, underrated flavor.
Mm-hmm. I like the chili flavor.
The sweet chili
Dorito.
spicy chili or something.
They brought those in a couple years ago.
Purple bag.
Those were excellent. Yeah.
Well, I don't think we'd be out of line. Not that I want to jump any guns here or anything, but I don't think we'd be out of line to put just Doritos on. Well, Cool Ranch specifically,
It's
though,
funny how everyone skips over nacho cheese these days.
Well,
like everyone's like, eh.
It's become the standard.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Mickey Mouse, if you will. You know,
But I feel like Cool Ranch usurped it like years ago, like as probably their most popular chip.
Oh, it has for me in my heart. I'll eat a regular. I don't know. Do you have a favorite Dorito, Alyssa?
I'm a spicy nacho girl.
Spicy nacho,
Like,
yeah.
Nacho
Really?
cheese, yeah.
The newest one that I really like is the barbecue Dorito. Black bag.
I haven't had that.
I have
They are
yet to
delicious.
Indulge.
And I'd be lying if I said I also didn't have a bag downstairs of the hot mustard Doritos that came out recently.
Hot mustard.
Yeah, hot mustard.
Didn't you find all those weird flavors also in like Ecuador or one of those?
Yeah,
like another,
I
like,
still have them.
international edition.
I still have them brought to me when my in-laws come in.
Really?
All the time. I get the Doritos. You know what, though? While we're talking about a tortilla chip here, I would be remiss, and I hate being remiss. You know, no one
Can't.
wants to be remiss.
Don't do it.
I don't want to.
If I did not mention my beloved departed chips, the Pizzerias by Keebler.
New pizzerias! Cranking with real pizza dough! Cheese, spices, radical grub!
Yes, yeah, you in the pizzerias. Here we go.
These folks, if you never had them, these were pizza-flavored chips by Keebler, the dark horse here. We're not just doing cookies, we're doing chip. And these things disappeared gradually. It was like a slow decay. It was like Back to the Future where Marty is disappearing. They become more and more scarce, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Some other company buys the recipe, those are gone. And it really upsets me because these chips were the chip of my childhood.
If you follow Joe on Twitter, I feel like every couple of months, his brain says, hey, remember pizzerias? Like it's like the same tweet, and it just comes out every month or two. Hey, pizzerias,
they're good.
You've been campaigning to get pizzerias back for years.
I know. There's petitions. Alyssa, you never had them, or
Did
maybe
not. They looked familiar when I looked them up, but I personally have never had them.
Yeah,
I remember them, but I don't remember getting them that often.
I just want to let everyone know that they're not going to make Rushmore because of that, but. Yeah. I remember them, okay?
What's funny is I feel like the thing that made them obsolete was a pizza-flavored goldfish, without question. And then popularity.
And Pizza Hut Doritos, when those came out in the mid-'90s, the Pizza Hut and Taco Bell sponsorships they had.
Yes, collab.
Right?
Oh, man. Remember the Locos Doritos taco, which it was like a special Taco Bell exclusive Dorito flavor or something?
Yeah, don't they still have that?
They have the volcano taco. Is that what you're thinking of?
Oh.
No. It wasn't the It was Doritos Locos taco.
Yeah, but it was like regular flavors. It had Cool Ranch and it had nacho.
A hint of lime, but in the
There's no lime.
I don't know. Either way, it was amazing. I feel like we're talking a lot about the tortilla chips.
Yeah, because it was a chip show.
But we're really, when we were talking before about the Frito-Lay company.
Oh, yeah.
We talked a lot about the Lay, but we didn't talk at all about the Frito because
we did not.
I did nominate. I nominated.
You did
Frito flavored twist, but the OG Fritos are dope.
They really are.
Can we just a nod to Fritos, the other side of Frito-Lay, and also for some reason the first one in the name. Maybe they're trying to get the popularity up, but I don't know. But I love Fritos. I love them. They are lovely and the best. I especially like barbecue Fritos and Flamin' Hot Fritos, which is Flamin' Hot has it's a flavor that has other chip brands have used. I don't know who
Flamin'
owns
Hot.
Flamin' Hot. There was there was the Cheetos Flamin' Hot.
Frito-Lay.
No, are Cheetos in this? By the way, that's another
No, they're
one.
not a chip.
They're not a chip. Okay. But the Flamin' Hot originally was on Cheetos and it made its way to Fritos recently.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Largest consumption of Red 40. No, I'm just kidding.
Turn your tongue red, that's for sure.
Alyssa, Frito, thoughts on the concept?
Now, Fritos, I feel like are underrated because I feel like they don't get the nod that they deserve. Such a unique shape. Recently, we had gotten the Fritos Scoops, which were
excellent,
perfect delivery for some French onion dip. Hello, so enjoyable, super sturdy. I feel like usually have a decent bag to product ratio.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And I appreciate that.
The one thing with Fritos is they are filled to the brim.
Yes.
When you get a bag of Fritos, you are getting all of the Fritos.
They do not mess around.
They don't. They last you, a lot of chip bags. We're adults here. I think we can admit that as adult human beings that we could hose a bag of chips easily, all of us, right?
Yeah.
But
easy.
Fritos, on the other hand, it takes me at least 2 sittings on a Fritos bag.
There's some effort involved.
Because there's more in there. There's double what is usually in anything else.
They are very unique.
Yes.
I got to give them that. They get points for that. They give me a little bit of the agita.
Really?
Well, it's only the Flamin' Hot. The barbecue one is the perfect in between. They have a good barbecue. Can we?
They do.
I've talked crap about a lot of barbecue around here today, but Fritos got it going on with barbecue.
Like those flavor twists,
Yeah.
The flavor twists are
They do
very
it right.
Yeah, they do it right. I still think we got to maybe get a Dorito on here.
I think we do.
I think it's only fair. As much as I like a good Frito, I think Dorito, surpasses that.
Right, but there is an extra slot still, right? There's 2 slots.
Yeah, so
Frito's in the game
it's
here.
It's still in the mix there, Michael.
So Mike and Amanda, so we'll be in the mix.
Are we doing Dorito brand, or are we okay with Cool Ranch? I know Alyssa's a spicy nacho kind of person.
Yeah.
So are we just going to compromise on Dorito?
I suppose. I mean, I do feel like Cool Ranch is more popular.
It is.
Am I just off base with that?
I don't
no.
think so.
No, I think they are. But I do think that Dorito overall has a very consistent quality when it comes to their flavors. They're all very good.
They are.
Flavor distribution as well can be dicey sometimes, but
It
like
can be.
overall, I feel like
Yeah.
they do it pretty well.
I'll say only in recent years. They used to be really
yeah, we
good
were
about
saying
that. Yeah, they used to be really good about that.
Specifically, Cool Ranch is the dicey one that I found, though. I don't see
Yeah.
that problem with a lot of the other flavors.
Maybe it's because it's the most they manufacture now, so the process gets like screwed up or something because way more.
It's also the dustiest one, I think.
Oh,
There's a lot of
you get some dust on.
There's a lot of dust. So Dorito? We'll just do Dorito?
Dorito.
Dorito.
Okay. All right, let's do it. For number 3, Doritos brand snack food chips. What?
Just that crunch and saying Dorito all at the same time. I just got reminded of 3D Doritos. You remember?
I do.
My favorite. I used to love the
Really?
3D Doritos. The little like triangle, the big poofy Oh,
the
man.
puff. Yeah. I remember some Super Bowl, they were like first coming out and they were like hyping the crap
Yeah.
out of them and they were really
What's her
good.
face? Was it Allie Larder? Who was the Doritos girl?
The Doritos girl?
Yes, Quinn.
They had a girl?
Yeah, was it Allie Larder or
They ever
Allie
had a
Landry?
person representing them?
But my memory is failing me.
I feel like it was Allie Larder.
She was in a laundromat or something?
Oh.
Popping them into her mouth suggestively?
Oh, yes. Kind of like the Garth scene.
Primetime television? Yeah, kind of like the Garth
No, Allie Landry. Allie Landry.
Yeah.
And it was the laundromat.
Introducing Doritos 3Ds. A whole new shape that begs to be eaten in very loud ways.
We got 3 on the board here. Ruffles as a brand. Salt and vinegar as a flavor. Doritos as a brand. I'm going to remind everyone we still have floating around on the table because this is do or die time here. This is where it gets serious. Kettle chip jalapeno. Fritos flavor twist honey BBQ. Amy's pita chips. Sorry, Alyssa, I don't think they're going to make the cut there.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
It's the healthy option.
Yeah, healthy. Nothing says healthy like cinnamon. Hers Old Bay. I don't think so.
So good. It's one of those chips that if you eat too much of it, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Fritos. Can I recommend that we talk about dill pickle flavored chips? What are your thoughts on them?
Very good.
Alyssa.
Oh, delicious. I love pickles and I love pickle flavored things. Another polarizing flavor though.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those that can be overpowering too, though.
Mm.
I'll say that. It's just like the Old Bay. It's like it's great in a short burst, but then oof. Kind of like Funyuns. Ugh.
Well, Funyuns are texturally challenged. You know, there's an issue there.
I just, in general, think Funyuns are terrible.
I don't think they're very good.
Yeah.
And they hurt my gums for some reason.
Interesting.
Are you a Funyun person, Alyssa?
I enjoy a Funyun every now and again. Do you feel like you would compare the airy texture of a Funyun to that of like a Muncho in the chip world?
Yeah. It's similar because Munchos are another one of those chips like Pringle where they're not allowed to be called chips for whatever the manufacturing process is.
Funyuns is in the same class as like Andy Capp's hot fries,
Yeah,
right?
those are good.
I know,
it's
I
the
just
same class.
but I love this like, what is this brand?
Yeah.
Right? Where you're like,
What
who
are we
makes
doing here?
it? Yeah, who makes this? Is it safe? Like,
Yeah, I know, because it tastes plasticky.
Yeah. It's one of those you find in like the other convenience store, not that's not 7-Eleven or whatever.
Or one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the corner mart,
Yeah.
if you will.
It's like- yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else we need to add? Alyssa, do you have anything else you need to throw on the table?
I feel like our final answer is already in discussion. We just need to like nail it down.
Quinn, do you have anything else you want to throw on the table
I feel
here?
like I've put down the ones that I think should be nominated. I can't think of anything.
No other strong feelings right
I
now.
can't think of any profound thing. I mean, if I could nominate Andy Capp's hot fries, of course I'd put it in.
Yeah, but they're not a chip.
It's not USDA certified or whatever.
Definitely not a
Yeah.
chip.
And that's the same that Pringles is in, correct? We're not counting Pringles as a chip,
no, we can count
technically.
Pringle.
Yeah, I think we need to throw away their brand. Like,
That's
get
the
out of here!
FDA.
Everyone knows that's chips. Let's
Right.
be
That's
real
what I'm
here.
saying.
The hot fry is not a chip because
No,
it's a
okay,
hot fry.
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But Pringle, as far as I'm concerned, is a chip.
right.
Yeah.
FDA be damned, obviously. But are they Rushmore worthy?
I mean, a lot of people, the Pringles are a go-to. If you go to any convenience store, there is a vast amount of Pringles flavors they eat up a lot of the aisle.
They're
definitely popular. I really think we need to think about Fritos. I know that people don't want to have that conversation, but they are top tier, and they don't get enough play. They don't get enough credit. Maybe this list could help them, could help push them to the top.
Well, listen. As much as I enjoy a Frito, I don't think they're making my Rushmore.
They're kind of like
personal.
They're kind of like a song that you know is a hit the minute you experience it, and that's the same with Fritos. They're a hit, but people need to really get on the.
And you're their A&R man.
Yeah,
apparently.
they really need to get on to Fritos. They got to figure it out.
Alyssa Marino, is Frito even climbing the mountain of your Rushmore?
I do agree that Fritos are criminally underrated. I don't know if they are Rushmore worthy in my book. I'm also not on the payroll of Big Frito by any means, but I think
I may be. I'm not sure.
And that's okay. We each to each their own agenda.
Do what you got to do.
Big Frito.
Big Frito. To me, I think it's worth going back and re-examining the case for Pringles, because I feel like if we're talking chips, they're rebellious. They have the unique packaging. They have the mouth activity of the fun of eating them, whereas you don't just mindlessly eat Pringles usually. I mean, sometimes you do, but like you can do more stuff with them. They're more of an adventure while you're indulging.
They're fun.
Flavor range.
I think no grease factor.
Oh yeah, definitely no grease. Because remember the guy with the
yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Don't be like him.
Marketing.
Yeah, marketing, clearly.
Like typical infomercial marketing.
Yeah.
I can't believe how long they ran with that. Like that.
Effective.
Like people didn't know by like they were like 30 years old and they're still like, hey, grease. Well, you
got to be safe. The only place where Pringles lacks is in its flavor execution. Certainly not the selection.
It is a weakness that only the original. The original like is actually better than most of the other flavors.
Might be. I mean, it did spawn an imitator in Lay's stacks. Remember, Lay had to get into the game.
I was very suspect of that. I did not.
Did you feel like they were like, come on,
I didn't even want to buy them because I was like, what is this? Like, get out of here!
Come on, man!
Like you already got chips. Like you don't need to be involved. They're part of Big Frito. Okay?
They are.
I mean, they're in the same company. It'd be like Utz getting into Pringles too. Like, get out of here.
By the way, Utz as a brand is a very good brand.
Very good.
They're an underrated
local
brand.
Forever, and then they finally went national like 10, 15 years ago. But yeah.
Do you think that Lay's is not getting any discussion here because it is so widespread, and that's why none of us are really saying, hey, let's throw Lay's on here?
Ubiquitous, if you will.
Ubiquitous, of course. You know, we all kind of know the Lay's chip.
Right.
Yep.
But does that preclude it from being on a Rushmore?
I mean,
I feel like there's no reason to have Lay's and Ruffles on the same Rushmore.
Yeah,
it seems redundant.
Fair.
Agreed.
Because the same company. Okay. So then it's a Pringle situation.
It's weird that Ruffles is not in the title of the company. Frito-Lay
Ruffles. Yeah. Well, you know, there's only so much room. Kettle chips, they are
Very
a
good.
different breed as well.
Now, all the major brands have gotten into the kettle game recently.
Yeah.
True.
Cape Cod being a great.
Yeah.
Right? Is Cape Cod one of the...
Cape Cod's really good. But actually, there's these Lay's ones with the, like, it looks like Mama's Kitchen or something on the cover where they're like, this is kettle cooked now. We're doing it too. Like,
Mama's Kitchen.
You know, it's got like a cutting board. Like it looked like somebody like cut the potatoes naturally.
Yeah,
and
sure they
it's
did.
like a sink in the bed. Like it's like Mama Celeste's kitchen or something.
We all know Big Frito are behind these kettle cooked chips.
Yeah. But they made a good jalapeno kettle cooked, I thought.
And that was the first nominee on here via Alyssa Marino.
See, Lay might get in somehow.
Well, no Lay, but you know, Lay. I like how we're just dropping the S. Just Lay.
Lay.
Just fuck off with your S.
And Pat Patterson walks up to me. He says, "Hey, Gino, what is your favorite kinds of chip? Ruffle, Pringle, or Lay?" I said, "None of the aboves, Pat. I like her."
This is hard for me because on one hand, I feel like it's a discredit to the Lay brand to not put them on. But
why don't you put Big Frito in that?
Yeah, I know, that's
then they get in by default.
But we already have Ruffle on there, so I think, like Alyssa said, we don't need both. We don't need all of it, right? So we could do the kettle chips, specifically jalapeno. I think that is the best flavor too. Or we could, I don't know about Frito, Quinn.
It's so good.
I know. Hey, listen.
I feel like it's handicapped because it's not a traditional chip. It's like unfair.
It isn't, but it's damn good. And we have a corn variety with Doritos in there.
True.
So that's covered already. Corn. As far as corn is concerned. I'm just having a hard time coming up with anything that might
Right now it's between just Lay's in general in my head and Kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like the two.
I like the salt and pepper flavor, but that's like very rare. Like hers is the only one that I really eat that does that. They're not everyone has a salt and pepper flavor. Wise has onion and garlic, which I love. They're the only.
Why did we not even like talk about?
We didn't talk about Wise.
Where the hell have they been the last couple? I never see them in the store anymore.
The corner liquor store around here, the alcohol
weird
store.
Teal bag.
Yeah, they have the teal bag.
It's like very strange.
But they got all your classic flavors. They got your sour cream and onion. They got your barbecue, your salt and vinegar.
It's like I feel like Wise doesn't do anything bold. You never see like an important new flavor from Wise.
You know why, right? Because they're very wise. But they do have onion and garlic, and they're the only ones that do.
Really?
Yes, and I love that flavor.
That's rather bold of them.
An everything bagel season, but for a chip, which I think is kind of interesting.
I mean, I've seen in Trader Joe's now they have an everything bagel chip.
They do. Yeah, they do. It exists now. Man, this is tough. I don't want to give Big Lay the nod here. Big Frito-Lay.
Big Frito is what you called it.
Yeah, sorry.
It would be smirching Frito. Of course, Frito has to take the brunt of the big damage
Yeah,
here.
but I think that... No, damn it. Big Lay is not getting into this. Big Frito, Big Lay, whatever. Yeah. Maybe Kettle. But are they polarizing?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They seem to be the prevailing like favorite type of potato chip these days. I don't think I'm mistaken with that. When you go to the store, there's always Kettle now.
Yeah. They're like a hip chip.
They're a hip chip?
They've been hip. You know, it's lasted, too. At first, it was like, oh, this is new, and you didn't know if it would last. But now there's Kettle brand chips.
Yeah, Kettle brand.
There's just Kettle cooked Lay's. There's Kettle Cape Cod. There's all sorts of them.
They're a different textural experience.
A little more crunch.
A lot more crunch in my book. Which I'm not always in the mood for, but I can still appreciate the chance they took, you know?
They always get the bubbles in them, too. The air bubbles.
Yeah, the air bubbles.
Yes.
Okay.
They're kind of intriguing because they obviously have stood the test of time. Like, they kind of popped in as like this little flash in the pan, but all of a sudden, hey, here we are, still discussing Kettle Cook.
Is this their moment? That they're making the Rushmore, and this is going to elevate Kettle Cook. Everybody who eats chips is going to listen to this podcast and be like, they were right.
Yeah,
they were right.
They were right, and now we all bow down to Lord Kettle Cook over here. Like,
is that a Dutch name? I think
hangs out with Lord Littlebrook.
Oh God! Good thing I finished my kombucha, or else I would have spit it out on that one, Michael Quinn. All right. Are we doing the Kettle? Does Kettle have the metal to make it to Mount Rushmore?
For the rhyme alone, I'm here for it.
It doesn't feel right, but I feel like it's bold.
Right?
It's bold.
But that is our show.
Yes.
We don't feel right all the time. Right?
See, I was all into giving Big Frito the nod here, but I would gladly put Frito on the side and say Kettle.
Yeah, well, Frito they're resting on their laurels. They have Ruffle in there anyway.
Yeah, but it's Lay's who really besmirches the name of Frito, if you ask me.
What's your problem with Lay's again? It's just they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like it's like they're all we're the chip or whatever.
It's like Dane Cook in 2006 or
like
something.
It's just too much.
It's just too much.
Like go away
but
already.
Poor Frito, it's like it's the first one in the name, and sometimes you go to a store and they don't even have it. Like, how does that happen? You know what I mean?
It is a travesty. And I think that one of these days that Frito will get the attention and the love that it deserves. I don't think today is that day. But
that's unfortunate. Yeah.
I think that they get a very strong honorable mention.
Okay.
And I would like that to be on the record because they are amazing and they do deserve it. I just don't know if they're like my Mount Rushmore level.
Okay.
They're not mine either, but very well put, Alyssa.
So Kettle?
All Kettle in general, like the Kettle... The idea,
Kettle in general?
The concept of Kettle.
Yeah.
The Kettle concept.
The Kettle concept.
I almost feel like you should change the sound to like a kettle boiling or whatever for this one.
We're going to agree?
I'm in.
Wow. So Kettle chips, just Kettle.
Upset city here. Kettle made it in.
Take that, Big Frito. All right. For number 4, Kettle cooked chips. Well, we have come a long way here.
Unbelievable.
I feel good about that.
I feel great as well, because I think that much like when we did the cereal, we do ruffle a few feathers. Again, no pun intended. But I think that we are bringing some recognition to maybe some flavors and some concepts here that maybe people wouldn't think about when it comes to Rushmore.
By the time we return to this, Kettle will be Big Kettle, and Frito-Lay will no longer be big.
Good. I hope so. I hope that that's what this accomplishes.
Bring them down a notch.
But Frito will always be the underdog.
Yeah. Frito will always be the underdog, 100%. To recap this for Donnie, of course, number 1 on the Rushmore is Ruffles. Number 2, salt and vinegar as a flavor. Number 3, Dorito brand snack foods. And number 4, the kettle concept.
Yeah, the concept of kettle.
The concept of kettle. That is the Mount Rushmore of chips. Folks, of course, let us know yours at AWM Podcast on Twitter and join our Facebook group. And remember, yell at Alyssa if you have any problem with this show.
That's it.
That's the way we do this.
Email, Twitter, whatever.
Yeah, fax.
Yeah.
You know?
Faxer, yeah.
Telegram.
Strongly worded letter. I'm ready.
Yeah, sternly worded letters. Alyssa, obviously, in all seriousness, thank you so much for coming on here. This was fun.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
So much fun.
You want to tell people where they can find you or anything like that?
Yes, of course. On social media, I'm at AYY_Marino. Any kind of upcoming wrestling events that I have are always going to usually be posted on Twitter and on Instagram. And then my semi-weekly show, Let's Get Cereal, is on YouTube at, I think it's just under Alyssa Marino. You can find my channel on YouTube and watch my episodes.
You truly are talented, and we really do appreciate you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate you both so much.
Thank you. And I'm sure you will be back because we have more food to talk about down the road.
Thank goodness.
There isn't enough food to talk.
There isn't enough. Yeah. But we hope everyone got their fill today. So again, thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you both so much. Have a great day.
That was fun, wasn't it, Quinn?
It was quite lovely.
How great, can I just say here, because I know she'll listen to this too, but how great is Alyssa?
She's the best.
She just rolls with our stupid senses of humor.
It's true.
Folks, we hope you enjoyed this here. Please be sure to join our Facebook group and follow us on Twitter if you haven't yet. And let us know. I know we were controversial. We're aware, okay, of our
very
picks.
controversial mountain there.
Very controversial mountain, but we want to make sure that you guys understand that this is all for fun, okay? So if you like a chip that we don't, or if you hate a chip that we like, we're
Make your
okay
own
with that.
Rushmore and put it on the Facebook.
Yeah, put it on the Facebook, put it on Twitter, let us know. One way or another, though, we will be back next week for something completely different. Do not you worry. Until that time, thank you guys so much for being with us here. On behalf of Alyssa Marino, I'm Joe Murata, that's Michael Quinn, and we'll see you next week for more Acid-Washed Memories.
See ya.
Like what you heard? Be sure to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We will see you next week.